this old Garter, January, retired from the constabulary, he spent his pension at the pub on paddies and stout and simple pub grub. He'd never married, but had enjoyed strings of women, but only casual flings. His appetite for sex was boorish. No one woman was so moorish to keep his interest for longer than a draught of average porter. But now, as Jan got into age, appeal wore off this wise old sage. The only way he spent his nights was slamming shots and picking fights. He thought at last his end was near, he'd almost had enough of beer, until, from picking numbers blotto, Jan won millions in the lotto. Soon enough he's moved from shack into a splendid country stack. He filled its largely empty halls with jars and jugs of lotto balls. His indoor pool he filled with Guinness, not a pool he'd use for fitness. And in the grounds he built a bar, the Pear Tree Inn, to drink his jars. Jan also found himself a manager, to ward off all unruly scavenger, to manage his wealth, health and affairs, and conduct PR from deep armchairs. This man, named Placebo, had to make Jan happy in a way that had better fit Jan and the company, who'd given our man far too much money for him to live alone with and not go funny. Placebo had noticed Jan's lack of a ring, and also how, when drunk, he lewdly would sing of his once full love life, now empty with age, and to Jan this man made a proposal, marriage. It'd be good for a man like yourself, said Placebo. All that nookie'd be good for your health. The company benefit too he could see if they made a once Larry drunk to respectable be. We could find his a wife you'd really adore, a young one too, pretty I'm sure. Still, one shrewd and desperate young woman said yes. She needed, now longed for, the money, you'd guess. The agreement all made, her future was set. For the time he endured her disgust she'd forget. The wedding took place in that dusky October. Jan was excited, frankly bowled over. Placebo, genius, had got him a wife. The fairest, no less, who would share in his life, who had been one from many to apply from the post. Placebo had not relayed the prize to his host. Jan was ignorant of the cash prize bonus lure, a reward for a job so odious. Now in their 6-page hello spread was the fresh young beauty who'd soon share his bed. What a wedding it was! The pomp and the fair to put to shame others. Before then who dared to put on a show that they hoped was amazing. Compared to Jan's amaze, theirs was debasing. Petals from orchids were strewn everywhere. Silver and gold gilded every chair. To the beauty of the bride, the maids paled in comparison, though some of them found the whole fair embarrassing. The priest told the bride to act just, well, and true. The priest told the groom to, well, just to be you. Then the groom kissed the bride, holding her near, and held up his prize to the congregation. A cheer arose and grew from the back of the halls, but then the jeers mixed in were succinctly ignored. Of course, the groom was soon bored of the party and wanted some privacy to just see how tarty his new wife could be when put under the covers. The throng soon left alone the lovers, and let's just say the meat was so tough it left me red-faced with bristle enough. Time passed on quickly, though slower for May, who realised her main purpose, long day by long day, was to please the old man with strange act of a nature that more befit a whore of the Kama Sutra. He even planned to take her more often to that private pub, to drink and engage her in more rumpy pub, and to this very day, as only he had the key, no one but the dismissible barman would see. However, adding an unseemly twist, the dismissible barman would do as he list, and one day, fulfilling his voyeuristic urge, realised his excitement with an energy stirred from the sight of his mistress, or rather her bust, and this barman named Damien realised he was a must. From then on, in protest, he took to his bed, resolved to wait till the old man was dead, when he'd comfort the widow with his ample service, but until then the sight of them made him too nervous. Jan was disturbed when he noticed the loss of his favourite pipe puller, a temperate boss, but too tired that day from having his way with May. He sent shocks with his wife and a message to say, "Hope you're well soon, here's a treat from me. My wife will take care whatever your needs be." Comforted by his dreams, Damien got cocky and handed fresh maize, downed up socky in which contained his innermost feelings, a pretty sick chappie with several good readings, which May then took, hid and read in private. Instantly flattered, she took pains to drive it right into her heart and write down the bidet that her ardent admirer she would not betray. And so instead, to inject enjoyment into her dull, joyless life, more akin to torment, she decided to plan a small rendezvous soon, and fulfill the man's longing as a dutiful boon. It just so happened that circumstances arose in which such a meeting's possibility froze and yet also became possible. A one-of-a-kind event happened in January. He was made blind. The fine, wealthy doctors he saw blamed the drink, or too much of it, and made all his hopes sink of it ever returning. This made January witless, fumbling around even more now than listless, and scared to death of losing his hold on the woman he now prized much more than gold. These plain fears of his would soon be confirmed, as ever with his tighter grip May have somehow squirmed from between his grasping fingers, her date to invent with a newly well Damien, every penny well spent. Though his grip was much more, May saw this her chance to finally lead January that merry, harmless dance, up and down the garden path, and then into that pub, the decided place where the love he would snub. What he won't know can't hurt him, the crafty-maid thought, and I can't believe he'd not expect stuff of this sort. From a woman of youth, not well paired with his age, fresh green herbs are much better than sage. Saved thus from her own light, empty guilt, May and blind January began the morning lilt from the warm, cosy mansion to the warm, cosy bar, as they usually did when they didn't use the car. Once inside, old Bland Jan sat down, begging of his wife, "Now, dearest, so as not to cause me any more strife as a bland man should have, will you come and sit close? If you can, while you're at it, do pour me a dose." Though May would usually, unspeaking, submit, today she thought she'd try and win a little bit. "Lover, do allow me to please pour my own draughts, as today I am chilly because of the draught." "Let me be now just here by your elbow," she whined. Jan was quite clement, her want not declined. Even though the barman himself was quite there, he was hid quite well under a chair, and which are May's real reason for drinking, it was Damien with which she wished to be clinking. Looking out blankly, Jan helped his wife over the bar and into the arms of the drover. The scene that followed may be funny to those walking in, not knowing what Jan did not know. Jan propping up the bar, talking rubbish as right, while his wife and the barman, getting high as a kite, right in front of the blind man, silent, you see. They did not want him to hear what his eyes could not see. For a minute or two it continued this way, January ignorant, the couple in full sway, careful not to knock bottles onto the floor, and careful as they'd been not to lock the front door. Smash went the whiskey, the two did not notice, and in Jan's blind eyes the liquid was poultice. Suddenly he saw that his sight was recovering. Suddenly he saw his wife and man shuddering with carnal pleasure together. He roared, and away from each other the couple's arms soared. They turned round to face him, and May, unabashed, handed him a shot from the bottle not smashed, and said, "Darling, sweetie, my January's cured. Thank heaven, Mr. Damien, they finally inured. Who'd have thought that wise old man's word would be right? For his sight to be restored, we'd have to bite. Oh, my dear, my nighty, is it not wonder as such to have two good friends who do love you so much?" With May's sweet, winning smile, his immediate mind, Jan was too confused to have thoughts of the kind that told him he knew what had been going on just before they'd been stopped by this monstrous song. But smothered by a new wife's overdid embrace, left alone, Damien having scarpered the place, he thought, what the hell, if she don't think I can tell, let her have the affair, but feel guilty as well. Thus lost in grievance for sight and lover gone, May's guilt for Jan kept them wed on and on, in a suitable fashion for January, no doubt. He just kept the benefit without the doubt.